Okay. I'll start with this one. It all depends on your personality, really. What you have to really understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. My strength is social and product oriented, and you definitely need someone who's going to watch the money and watch the books. And I don't know if you can actually trust an accounting office to tell you that it's, you're in trouble. You need to know you're in trouble before you get to that point. And if you have a partner who's into crunching numbers and into the specifics of everything that's going on, it definitely helps you stay on course.
I want to add one thing. Partners, I think it's exactly like you said, it's all personal. I think before I was lucky as opposed to being clever, because the most important thing in a partnership is whether your personality, you work well together. Because it's like getting married. Don't like, you live together, you sleep together, you think about the same things. It's like getting married, so make sure you get on very, very well. And that's the most important thing. And then obviously, if you have complementary skills, it's going to be good. And you ask whether it's financially good or not. One thing which somebody very much smarter than I am told me a long time ago when I was just starting up is they told me that business is a game of 1 and 0. And there's obviously a whole bunch of numbers in the middle, but it's 1 or 0. 0, it failed and that didn't work and you go home without anything. 1, the business works. And obviously how much money you can make it changes drastically between the different amount of businesses. But the most important thing you should worry about in the business is making sure that it's a 1 and not a 0. And then worry afterwards about how much money you make or you don't make, whatever. But first make sure it works. First make sure it's a business that works and it's selling what it's meant to sell or it's doing what it's meant to do. And so if bringing in a partner is going to increase that change, and I wouldn't worry too much about 50% or 25% or how much, or whatever. Just do it and afterwards worry about it.
I personally think partnership is essential. Especially for somebody starting out by themselves as a first-time entrepreneur, because for a number of reasons. Firstly, as a young entrepreneur, you should have somebody who's got more experience than yourself in business in the local country to hold your hand, to mentor you. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand as well, to support you in the business, because if it's all you and you want a vacation, you just can't go away. So it's even when you do have employees, there's still no balabait in the organisation. So I think it's quite critical to have. And as Ben said, 100% you have to have good partners. And really, if you don't know the person, do a good background check about who they are. From my own personal experience of other businesses where I won't get into it now, but basically you really need to see who you're ultimately getting married to before you actually get married. And there's one other thing. Yeah, somebody
you're going to need somebody who speaks for you, otherwise you're going to drown.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No two ways about it.
I completely agree with everything they said. I think having a partner, for me, as someone who's worked independently for 2 years and with partners for 2 years, it's been a world of difference having a partner, both for the language factor, the fact that he's lived here for 4 years and they'll understand the culture better than I do, and also so that you can take vacation and someone else can pull down the fort. Like there's so many reasons, and I mean, I don't know about you guys, but in our business, there's also just a lot of venting that has to go on, and it's almost, you need someone who can relate to what you're going through, because starting up a business is so stressful, and there's so much going on in the process, and there's no one else who can relate to exactly what you're going through at that time, and is, you're already going through such a transition, moving to a new country, and there's so many other pieces. I think it just makes everything more manageable to have a partner who you can lean on, who they can lean on you, and if they can balance out your skill set, it's amazing. Though I must add, what you said, it is still very important to have a good accountant. Even if you or your partner is very good at keeping the books, I'm still understanding the accounting process here. The taxes, how they change, how you go into different tax brackets. It's Greek to me, literally. So a good accountant is a very important thing.
I've got to disagree with one thing. The accountant, I think you should pay for what you need. Like, don't always pay for the best accountant if you don't need the best accountant. Get the right amount, because a good accountant also costs a lot of money. That's
But also being accountant isn't going to, that's what you said,
He's not going to
he's
tell
not
you.
going to tell you your business is drowning.
No, he'll tell you after it's drowned that,
Yeah.
oh, you're in trouble.
After he gives you his bill.
Yeah.
My name is Susie Dixon, and I want to bring in temporary living taxes. And I have the right for the exclusivity for Israel. And I'm at the point where I'm dealing with business plan and trying to, forecast the cash flow and how many people are going to buy it. All of you brought in or did something that's not here. How do you forecast that?
I think it's gonna be
I
hot.
have.
Israeli room to market themselves up, so I think it'll be hot.
Thank you. So, but how do
Especially
I
if
know
it's
how
not
much
permanent.
money I need to
Love
get
the
this off the
research.
ground?
Just research.
Like,
Research.
research on what?
Well,
If he knows it to know if they would.
Israel's no
spend money.
different
I don't even know how
than
much I can sell it
Israel
for.
is different, but it's no different than any other country. Look at what goes on overseas. How many people buy it overseas? How many people live there? Who buys it? What at each other? How much they pay for it? How much is the income? Just research. Know everything about it overseas.
It's so new that there isn't research anywhere else about it.
So-
The only thing I'm compared to is like lip gloss.
But when you would compare it to the tattoo industry,
It's not my target market at all.
I understand that, but that's the same type of people that would definitely be interested in the product.
All right, guys, one final question.
I have two quick questions. The first one was apart from your business concept, which was an import. I want to know what's the advantage to being an American in Australia and South Africa / Australian American from that point of view. And then, secondly, what's your next step?
Okay, I'm gonna go to what's the next step. One first, I think I'm gonna be working really hard for the next 4 or 5 years, honestly. I'm just gonna keep plugging away at this business. Waking up and talking to people and going out there and doing more sales, and maybe another Jems in Jerusalem, maybe a Jems in Haifa, maybe a Jems in Iraq. We're gonna keep growing this business slowly and one glass of beer at a time. What was the first question again?
The advantage of being an American.
The advantage, I think, for us is that we're more tolerant. Become Americans, especially, we have a much more inclusive, outlook. We're much more accepting. We also look at situations with a much wider perspective, coming from a country of 300 million people. So I think that gives us a little better vision when we look out into the marketplace, what's going on, and what's happening. Everyone laughed at me. They thought I was totally out of my mind when I told them I'm opening Tikva. They just didn't see the natural growth of where this country had to go. How many people can we put in Tel Aviv? And there's nowhere north and south. I knew Tikva was going to be a hot spot, and thank God I followed my instinct.
Advantages is just diversity. Diversity brings new ideas, new things. You've got a lot of exposure to things that Israelis don't have. And everyone, I don't know if there's a specific advantage. Everybody's just got to use what they got. You speak a handy language. English is used all over the world, and it opens doors in Israel. Everyone will probably tell you, and overseas. Just that you've got a different way of seeing things, and don't get pushed around in thinking necessarily. Sometimes you've got to do things the Israeli way, but don't get pushed around in thinking that maybe some things, despite what Israelis may think, that Americans do better than Israelis, and stand on that. That's your real advantage. That you've got to bring a different perspective.
Okay, I think one of the greatest advantages is English. And basically the way we started selling the concept of DataBank, we pick up the phone with cold calling in English. And what we found was when you speak English, you get straight through the gatekeeper directly to the person you need to speak to. When you're speaking to that other person who you want to make a meeting with, he has no idea why you're calling him. You speak really fast. You say, do you have the calendar in front of you? Before he knows it, you're in for a meeting. We have, and still today we operate at that level, a 90% rate in cold calls to meeting, which we operate. And we recently employed a sales guy who chartered Olim. So English is still like mother tongue, so he's got the right accent. He started selling in Hebrew and very quickly switched to selling in English because he found it was just getting through the gatekeeper was impossible in Hebrew. The next step, sell out and go to the Caribbean. No, just to continue to grow and build the business. It's now a lot of fun as we are really pumping. Like, what we've had in our business is continued growth every single month for the past 9.5 years. But now what we're doing, we're getting the companies who wouldn't work with us in the beginning. And these are like the big government organizations, the large companies. For example, this week we just signed a major contract with IBM, which took years to eventually convince them to move over to use DataBank. And it's just keep growing, basically, and finding other businesses to venture up with as well. Yes.
I think the advantage that we bring, both me and my partner being originally American, is professionalism that many of our clients are not used to working with, and customer service.